Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be looking at replacing the cracked glass of an iPad. So stay tuned. Alright, today we've got this iPad, model A1893. Very clearly has a broken screen, so we will be replacing that today. I went ahead and ordered a replacement screen for an iPad 6th Gen 2018. I looked it all up, and so I'm sure this is the right screen. However, what I'm not sure about is the color. So when I was given this iPad, well, before I was given this iPad, they didn't know the color of it. They just told me it was broken and wanted it fixed. And I said black or white, and they said black. But clearly it's a white screen here, so not a problem, just cosmetic. The only problem is the button will be white after. And these don't include, well, this does include a button, I think, maybe. Yeah, it does. If it has Touch ID, oh, the button's broken too. I got a crack in it. Alright, so I got it plugged in, and it is using Touch ID. Obviously, it's looking for the... Oh, unable to activate Touch ID in this iPad. Okay. Probably because the button's broken. So, I think we can replace the button. Touch ID is already broken, so no worries there. If you do have Touch ID and it's working, and you take the button off or power it on with the button disconnected, Touch ID will never work again until you take it to an Apple store and they can reprogram it. But if you're doing your own repairs, you probably don't want to go to the Apple store. So no worries. So we'll replace the button with the one that's included here, so it'll all be the right color at least. The other thing is you can buy replacement screens, just the screen part, or the screen and the digitizer. This is the screen and the digitizer, which is much easier. If you get just the screen and try to reuse the digitizer, it's a huge pain. You have to separate the digitizer from the broken glass, and yeah, it's not worth your time doing that. So I got them together here, which will make my life a lot easier. I think there's protective stickers over this. All right, so the first thing we got to do is we need to get the existing glass off. So let me power it back down. Alright, so it should be off. Alright, they gave us a little toolkit here. I don't know if we need their tools, but always welcome more tools. Let's see what we got here. 4 guitar picks, Phillips screwdriver, a plastic spudger, a pair of tweezers. Wow, these are some terrible tweezers. I don't think the ends even touch each other. It's basically going to be useless. And then a nice metal spudger. It's called Unlimited Innovation, the opening tool. Made in China. Model number GB5A. Well, that's certainly a decent tool. I don't remember what I paid for the replacement screen that came with these tools, but I think it was like $15 or $20. It was actually super cheap. Alright. So if you're taking an iPad apart and the glass is broken, you're going to get glass everywhere. Some people recommend wearing cut-proof gloves. Probably not a bad idea. I don't own any, so I won't be doing that. The first thing we have to do is heat up the adhesive so we can get the glass off. And they give you a nice suction cup to hopefully pull in here and lift it up. And if we can't, that's why we got the spudgers to help us with that, and the guitar picks as well. Alright, it's coming up to temp. Definitely don't want to overheat things, so I'm just going to start at the bottom here and kind of up the sides a little bit. Like I said, it's definitely going to crack and get glass everywhere, so no point in trying to get it all off in one piece because it's just not going to happen. So we'll start at the bottom, work our way up, and heat as we go. So we'll just keep going, try to get the next section up. All right, so once you have it open, never mind the huge mess I've made. All right, so next up, once you open it up, minding the flex cables here for the digitizer as well as the home button. Take these 4 screws out. I'm gonna put mine in this little tin here so I don't lose them. Dropped that one, but luckily it bounced right into my container. What are the chances? So they're just in each corner, one in each corner. All right, so we got our 4 screws out. So careful maneuvering, we should just be able to flip this up and over. Be careful of the cables. So now we've got to take these 3 screws off to get the digitizer cables out. Like so, and that takes the LCD screen with it. So we can take that and get it out of the way. And then we can lift up the connectors for the digitizer. Get those out of the way. And then the connector for the home button. All right, so the last step before we put the new screen on is we need to get rid of all of this adhesive that's left. So you're probably going to have some around all the edges. You know, I've got a bunch here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then of course chunks of glass in it because, you know, that's just what happens. And you do want to make sure you get all the chunks of adhesive out. So I see some more spots. Reason being, if you don't, the glass isn't going to sit flat. It's not going to adhere well, and the new panel may chip. You know, if you put a chunk of glass underneath and put pressure on it, it's going to obviously exert that pressure back up to the glass and can cause your new piece of glass to chip. So you definitely don't want to go all this trouble just to have to do it again. So we really want to make sure we get this nice and clean. And I'm just using the back end of the spudger they provided, the plastic one. All right, so we will take our new piece of glass / digitizer and we can connect that in. So you want to try to not touch the inside of this glass because you're gonna have to clean it if you do, like I just did. Now I've got fingerprints on the inside of it. Wonderful. So what I'm gonna do is just hook this up. I'll connect in these flex cables. All right, I think we got those 2 in. Looks good. Then I'll connect in the home button. Those will stay connected when we lay it down. Now we can reconnect the LCD panel. Carefully route this cable underneath the LCD panel. Put this back in. Now before I do any sort of adhesion of anything, I want to first test it out to make sure that it's working, well, at all, and then correctly. See if we completely fried it by connecting things. All right, so the test fit is okay. Now what I want to do is clean the inside of the new screen because I did touch it. I see my fingerprints. And then I want to clean very carefully this screen. I did give it a little clean earlier because I did get some glass on it and some fingerprints. But there's definitely some streak in there. So, all right, so I've got my lint-free, super high quality, just kidding, it's paper towel. Just be really gentle with it. I've got one of my hairs in there too. That's great. Oh, right, I wanted to clean the inside of this as well. I don't think this one's too bad. I don't see any other fingerprints or anything other than the one I put down at the bottom, but it looks good now. All right, so now I need to put these 3 tiny little screws back in while also holding this up. So this here, there's 3 screws that hold the connector down. This whole piece of metal is the LCD connector itself. So when you take the screws out and lift it up, that just disconnects the LCD screen. And then the touch screen, or sorry, the digitizer cables are under here as well as the home button cable. So there are these guides, these plastic guards and guides. So what I like to do is put the glass kind of about where it's going to end up, just straight up and down, and then drop the LCD panel in. And that way the guides will be tucked underneath it. You don't have to worry about trying to feed them in later. So now with all this in place, put the 4 LCD screws back in. And that's 4. So now we can close it up. and do one final test to make sure everything's good. So power it back on. Home button works, touchscreen seems to work, at least the areas we can access. So let's see if we can turn it off. All right, so then we can complete final assembly. So at least on this one, it came with the adhesive already on the back. Some might come with an adhesive ring that you have to lay down. These ones are typically pretty nice. You just peel the adhesive backing off. I think we have good adhesion. There's no gaps. There's no sticky up bits. So I think we are good to go. And it didn't crack when I put it down and put pressure on it, so that's also super good. All right, let's turn it on. Do a final test. Check the home button. Obviously it's charging, which is good. Home works, and then let's check power. Power's good, and we'll check the top of the screen. So yeah, I think we are good to go. So let's disconnect it from power, and let's do the peel. Now I'm seeing it's not quite adhering on the bottom here, but I'll address that shortly. And I guess it's just going to take a little bit of time for that adhesive to be truly happy. But yeah, all good. So we'll call this one fixed and ready to go. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.